All right, Nate.
This is how it goes, man. It's as casual as it gets.
Yep.
Just talking shit about Iowa football and reminiscing on the great times.
All right, here we go.
Welcome back, Wash Up Walkons fans. This is episode 89 of the podcast, and this is one of the ones that you guys have been waiting for the longest, and I can say that we pretty much have too. This is a guy that has always been very few words to anybody except for inside the locker room. Nobody really knows this guy except for his teammates because he does it the Iowa way. I don't know how long I could go on an intro talking about how great this guy is, but I'll try and keep it short because we can have a great conversation. This is my quarterback, man. Shout out Siege too, forever. But it takes a lot to be the guy that this guy was in the Iowa program, the leader that he was, the guy that shined through adversity, shined when people were talking shit on his name. Man, proud of this guy, proud of everything he did in the program. Nate, welcome to the podcast.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Nate Stanley. We're going to start hot here, Nate. Around these parts of the woods, okay, in the Washed Up Walkons community, you are known as Big Dick Nate. And I don't know if you've been told this, but we literally, BDN is what we call you on Twitter. That's from Drake. Obviously, Drake's kind of that guy. He comes up with the nicknames and all the fun stuff. But and that is an ode to your just absolute savagery as QB1 for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, the way you played with the 9-pound hammer cock between your legs, that's the energy that we were talking about.
I want to hear about what it was like. Let's just open it up. What was it like in the best way you can describe it? What is it like to be the QB1, and what did it mean to you to be QB1 for the Iowa Hawkeyes over the last 3 years?
Oh man, I mean, there's a bunch you can say, but one, just completely and honestly thankful for the opportunity. Anytime you get to play on a stage like that, it's extremely special and reminds you of how lucky we are. I think we have a great example with the Children's Hospital. To just be fortunate and grateful every day that you get to step out on that field. And, I'm from a small town and I'm just living life, just living a huge dream of mine since I was a kid. And, that's really the best experience that you have.
It really did feel like a dream, didn't it, sometimes?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. Like the first time I ever ran out on the field, like I don't remember the swarm at all. Like it happened so fast, and I was like just swimming. And then the second time, like when you actually realize like, oh my God, this is happening. It's like, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened in my life. You have 70,000 people chanting Back in Black and slamming on the pads in the student section. And the energy is just ridiculous, and it's crazy.
There's no place in the world like Kinnick.
Oh my God.
Goosebumps, boys. Goosebumps. Because I'm thinking about rounding that corner. And
oh my God, yeah.
I'm thinking about rounding that corner, and all you hear is
just a pounding on the pads.
Dude, the field starts coming
to
play.
You don't hear anything until you round that corner. And then when you round the corner, it's just like bam, it's right there. And like you can hear it faintly, but it's like once you start going down the tunnel, where you can actually see the field, it's like the sound just magnifies like 1,000 times, and it's crazy. It's like
It's one of the greatest feelings in the entire world.
it's awesome.
It is
It's awesome.
absolute ecstasy.
It is.
That's the only way I can describe it. I don't know if there is a better drug on earth than rounding the corner of the tunnel in Kinnick Stadium.
I'd agree, man.
And I know you don't do drugs, Nate, because you're so fucking straight line. Why do you think I have an opinion, and I think it's because you were in the spotlight as a young guy. And we'll get to that and kind of through your career, how it turned out for you. But playing time early on, like we're talking 2016, CJ goes down.
How is that play action against
Go to say it.
Yeah.
What's it feel
what
like?
was going through your head right there?
What's it feel like to get a little a play action call and not just a handoff on your first play?
I mean, CJ went down, and it all happened so fast that it was like I didn't have any time to think.
Yep.
And it's like went out there, ran the play. CJ
dropped the dime.
Yeah, George was open, was fortunate enough to hit him, and it all happened so fast. It's like, did that just happen? Like, did I just complete like my first meaningful pass in Kinnick Stadium? And it was. I mean, Coach Davis made a great call. I don't think they expected us to throw the ball in that situation.
Not a chance.
Especially not on the same play that we'd already missed once.
Right. Yeah. We ran that play earlier in the game. Came back and caught him on it the second time, and we went down and finished that drive with a touchdown. So
who would have thought that you were throwing to a the best football player in the world on that play?
Yeah, no kidding. He's something else, man. I'll get the quarterback guy that I'm working with right now. I during the Super Bowl, like after the second play, I get a text from him that says George Kittle's the best blocking tight end that he's ever seen.
Yeah,
and it's like he's a freak. He'll run people over. There's a one clip of him laughing in the end zone when he just demolishes that guy. Like he's just a savage. Like he's living his best life. He's playing a game and he's loving every single day.
I'll tell you what though, Nate, you had one of those plays. Like you have one play in your Iowa career that is exactly George running that guy over and laughing. It's when Buddy was hanging on your leg and you threw the rope to TJ against Ohio State. Yeah. And then you just, what's up?
Now,
that was it right there.
Now,
the same moment.
Now, let's back up a little bit. Nate. I think there's some thanks.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Place, yeah, all I'll say is thank you.
You're welcome.
Couldn't stay on his feet, and was missed it by a yard, missed a touchdown by a yard, and I say that series of events was probably led to my coolest touchdown ever as a Hawkeye.
Oh, for sure.
But it's off the back of Kluver's probably biggest disappointment.
No.
Yards.
Okay, yes.
Yard short. Maybe one of the biggest. I don't know.
Yeah, so biggest disappointment was when I figured out that there was no more Friday night ice cream senior year. In New York City, and that was the last one. And second biggest disappointment was when I think about it's a disappointment. And it's a great, obviously, long snapper gets to make a catch.
And it was a good play. You made a good play.
Right. No,
didn't make it all the way.
Now, I appreciate that, Nate. And I'm glad that we got that out there, that I set up your best touchdown ever. But that really was not just you, but TJ. I mean, just the whole – that game – let's talk about that game. That similar feeling of walking around the tunnel or just playing in front of Kinnick, your first play against North Dakota State, all of those things kind of you black out. You really do. And you don't realize that you're in the moment. You're just playing football. Right. That entire game was that situation. Like we were not supposed to win that game, buddy. Number 4, you were leading us into a slaughter for that game. And we won. And I don't know how we did it, but we sure did. Yeah. Talk about, you were – I don't break it down. I'm sure scouts will, especially now that you're leading up to the draft, but got to be one of your better games. I know when we were seniors, it said we filled out this sheet that said circle 3 games or write down 3 games that you want scouts to watch film on.
Just write Ohio State 3 times.
I got to imagine that was one of the 3 games that you put down. Talk about that game.
Yeah. Like you said, it's almost like it's like an out of body experience. Like you black out and you just go out and play ball. And one of the things I think that helps that is just Kinnick at night. I think you guys would agree. It's just something different. Like
it's a graveyard, dude. It's where people's dreams go to die.
Like even earlier in that year when we played Penn State, even though we lost in that game, like that game and the Ohio State game were 2 of the most electric atmospheres that I've ever been a part of in Kinnick Stadium. And it's just crazy. Like one that fuels that experience, I think, and makes it so much better. And and then the start that we had of the game with Amani picking off JT Barrett and taking it to the house right away in the first play of the game, like at that moment it was like, okay, like, yeah, we can play with these guys, and then from then on it was like, man, these guys can't hang with us. It's like they almost quit.
They did quit.
And I mean, like
they got put in a body bag, Nate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some former questionable decision-making fullbacks would say that they were put in body bags.
Yeah.
You're right, man. That game, and it definitely helps when you're throwing to guys like Noah Fant and TJ Hawkinson
and Drake Kulik.
And not no.
This guy threw me my only touchdown of my career. One receiving touchdown and one rushing touchdown, and he delivered the ball on both, but he only gets credit for one.
Yeah.
In Kinnick at night against Ohio State, this guy threw me the ball.
You got to thank was it Weeding for not getting in the end zone on the other one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Nate, do you remember? So you may not even remember this play. It's so irrelevant, though you might, because you were probably pretty pissed at me at the time. We were playing Iowa State. We were like plus 40 on the left hash, and Brian called the fake power. You roll out, and then you were going to throw it to me in the flat. They were playing man, and we ran them off, and it was just wide open as hell. The outside linebacker cut me down, and that's like the biggest regret I have in my entire career is letting this cut me down in the open field. That was 6 points. You were for sure throwing me a touchdown there.
I do remember that, yeah. Yeah, it's like, well, because, like, a lot of times they're taught, like, you see a guy coming to kick you out, just submarine him and fill up the hole. And, like, it's hard for them to tell whether it's a run or a pass, especially on a reverse shot like that. And yeah, that does suck because that was a touchdown.
That was a touchdown, dude.
There was nobody there.
The defenders had their backs turned running to the fucking gates.
Yeah.
And, oh, man.
Nate, do you remember plays? Would you say you have a memory? Because I feel like quarterbacks just do, you hear about, like, guys who just have crazy memory, recall, some coaches as well. Can you remember plays? Do you remember specific exact moments like that better than most people, would you say, or average?
I'd say I'm probably average at it. I wouldn't say that I have like a photographic memory. Like I remember watching something, who's the Rams head coach right
Sean
now?
McVay, yeah.
Yeah, McVay. Like he remembers like a third and 7 in 9th grade, tackle football from high school, and it's like he can call the play, he can say the down and distance, like how much time was left on the clock, and it's like,
yeah, he's
like,
wild.
I'm just not gifted with that ability, but I feel like I'm decent at remembering like the overall situation in kind of the outcome of the play, but not as much detail as McVay showed when he was talking about that or when I saw that clip. So
yeah, Nate, talk about your recruiting and how it got to be that you came from, I don't even know if I can say it correctly.
Menominee.
Drake's got it.
Menominee, Wisconsin to Iowa City, Iowa.
So I guess, I played a little bit. I punted and kicked my freshman year in high school, and then sophomore year I worked into a starting role as a quarterback. And then After that
What's
was
up, boys?
what's up, Ken?
Welcome, K. Lordy.
What an absolute asshole intro to that.
Hey, you guys the assholes for scheduling us at 1 o'clock on a Friday.
Okay, we're just trying to make time for our guy, our quarterback, QB number 4, number 1 in our hearts, Kev. All right?
That was gay.
What's up, Nate?
How's it going?
It's going good, man. Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
What was it? Recruiting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
how you got to Iowa City?
So then after my sophomore year, that's kind of when it I got my first offer. Actually the Wisconsin coach right now, he was at Pittsburgh and he offered me out at Pitt, and I kind of did the camp circuit, the summer before my junior year, picked up an offer from Iowa. After my junior year, after my junior season, I told the coaches, hey, I want to commit to you guys.
Was that after 2015?
Yeah, at 2015.
Yep.
Did that sway your recruiting?
Or
Or were you pretty locked in?
So I was pretty locked in.
Damn, you should have lied right there. You had the opportunity to be like, yeah, man, 12-0. That I was gonna go join the winners and keep winning.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously, me talking with Coach Ferentz and the other coaches, I kind of just fell in love with the coaches. It really felt like a true family. My mom is from Central Iowa, so I have family fairly close. My dad's from across the border into Illinois, not too far, so I have family both ways. That's pretty close. So that was a big factor. And then when Chris went back to Wisconsin, he tried really hard to get me to switch back to Wisconsin. But growing up, I grew up watching NFL football and college basketball more so. So I didn't really have an allegiance to, Wisconsin football like a lot of my friends did growing up.
Yeah, man. That's a fantastic bit of information.
So, like one of my best friends from high school, he's actually Wisconsin's fullback right now, or one of them. He's a fullback that scored in the Rose Bowl game on the dive. So, once he had an offer here as a linebacker, and when he got offered at Wisconsin, it was like the next day he was like I'm going there. He grew up a Badgers fan. He grew up like worshiping the Badgers, and that's just what he loved. And so no, there's no hard feelings because he's a great guy. But I just never felt that from Wisconsin. So when Chris, went back to Wisconsin, I didn't feel strongly to change my mind or flip. And to the coaches that were there.
Your buddy was a linebacker?
So he was the fullback this year, one of their fullbacks. I think he's number 34.
He started as a linebacker?
Yeah, he started as a linebacker, then they moved him to fullback.
So good to know Wisconsin takes on athletic linebackers and makes them fullbacks too. Right,
yeah.
I was just wondering how you were going to tie this back into a dig at me, and you did a pretty poor job because we've heard that one before.
But
you're good.
Yeah, the coaches at Wisconsin before Chris were there, kind of gave me a bad vibe, and
thank God for that as well.
So you can thank Gary Anderson for that one.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
They didn't. So I went to a couple camps there, and just didn't really feel welcomed, at all by them. So, with that information and that experience, and then my experiences at Iowa, I committed fairly early and felt comfortable with my decision, and stuck with it. So
getting recruited by Iowa as a quarterback, I feel like is pretty good because CJ committed over some pretty big schools as well. And CJ was always so high on Coach Davis and how great their relationship was and things like that. So I feel like it's just, once you meet the people, it's impossible to turn them down,
Right. How can you, Coach Davis was one of the big factors why I came to Iowa too. And how can you say, oh, this guy, he's not that good of a coach when he had guys like Vince Young.
Right. He won a national championship.
Coach Davis was a great coach and a great person, and he'd have us over for dinner. Miss Patsy would make pasta. I remember the first time, the summer that I got here, we were over there. She made like lasagna, and oh my God, like the best homemade lasagna you'd ever have in your life.
Oh.
And it was a true family. And when I got on campus, I was like, yeah, this like kind of just reassured me that I made the right decision. And fell in love with it. I wouldn't change my decision.
We as a program got really fortunate having Coach O'Keefe willing to come back and be quarterback coach and like co-offensive coordinator to Brian, because I feel like his knowledge was invaluable. The amount of stuff I learned from Coach O'Keefe just kind of like through osmosis, just because he was coaching somebody else, is pretty.
Yeah. He, obviously he was at Iowa, with Coach Ferentz when he first got here. They have a long relationship back, a long time. And then going to the NFL, I think he really understands how to help people translate from college into the NFL level. As do all the coaches. I think, Coach Ferentz was in the NFL for a while. Obviously Coach O'Keefe, Brian was with the Patriots for a long time. They just have an understanding of what, helps people get to that level. And, all of them obviously know the schemes. Within an offense, all the terminology is different no matter where you go, but the schemes are the same. And, I think our offense really allows people to, learn those professional schemes and really translate their play, to the next level. Because, guys that come to Iowa over another program might have 3-4 years of, a professional offense, over like a spread type offense or an air raid where totally change.
Playing on that point, going back to like 2017, when you were a young first-year starter in Davis's offense, which was less complex than Brian's, do you feel like in 2019 you were literally playing chess compared to checkers back then, and just how much you've progressed mentally as a quarterback?
Yeah, so I guess you were in Coach Davis's offense for longer than I was. For me, coming in the summer, I wouldn't change when I came in. When I got to Iowa, because I wanted to play my senior year of basketball and baseball in high school. But I think coming in at the start of the summer, and then getting into the 2 position, I really didn't have a very good grasp of that offense. So I thought his offense was a lot more complicated, just because it was kind of like hurry up and learn it as quick as possible.
Right.
And then you're right into game plan. So it's like week to week to week with Coach O'Keefe and Coach Brian in the offense that I was in for 3 years. We had spring ball, and it was really slow install. It was really slow. Make sure everybody knows what they're doing. And you were a part of it too. That, they took it slow. And then
when Brian teaches an offense, like he taught us in the running back room probably damn near as much as he taught you, just not as like concentrated. He didn't spend as much time on everything, but we were learning the blocking schemes. We were learning why you were changing plays from here to what the defense was. And I'm like, jeepers, Brian, I play fullback. Like,
no, he's a really good teacher, and he's really, he's really detailed on how he teaches. And, I think that's really good, especially for somebody where I was at in my career. It helped me immensely and helped me to, be on the same page as him. When during media timeouts, we'd be talking the whole time, and it's like, hey, what do you like in this situation? Our schedule during the week is a lot different than other teams in the country. So like we'd still meet on Thursdays. It'd be like Coach O'Keefe, Coach Brian, and then the quarterbacks would meet, and it'd be like, all right, give me your top 3 plays in this situation. And I'd tell them, this, and this. And then, when we got to the game, it was, hey, those 3 calls were up first. So like we had a really good relationship. I think that comes back from, Coach O'Keefe and Coach Brian really understanding how to teach somebody an offense and how to teach somebody what to look for. And definitely as I went later in my career, it was like I knew how to watch tape. I knew what to look for when I was watching tape, and I got better at that every single year. But it was like my senior year, it was like, okay, I know what's coming, and it's like I know how to fix it, or I know what play to run, or even before we get our checks and alert sheet on what they want to do. If Sunday I was getting a jump on a team, I was like, hey, we could do this and this, and then on the game plan sheet it was like something similar to what I was thinking, or it was what I was thinking. So
yeah, see, when you get that comfortable in an offense, you're actually the coach and the quarterback on the field, because you can make checks, and even if the coach calls a bad play because he gets fooled on the coverage, they do something against their tendencies, you just pop, you know exactly what to do. That's invaluable. Like we were talking about many a times on the podcast, watching you play and watching you make all the checks at the line and everything, and it was just – you weren't playing quarterback like some of these kids out here in college are playing quarterback, where they just look at the sideline, see the pictures, snap the ball, and make a 1-2 read. You're out here manipulating the offense. And we just talked about how invaluable that was. And going back to your point on Brian and Coach O'Keefe, Brian always openly calls himself an idiot. Like he's always like, this game, it's simple. Look, I'm fucking stupid. I'm an idiot. He's the smartest idiot I've ever met in my life, hands down.
Yeah, he schematically, he knows so much and understands what to do. And I think it just goes from, well, one, he did it as a player. Two, he was with one of the
Bill Belichick,
one of the brightest coaches and greatest coaches to ever live. And now he learned from his dad, KF. He's got so much experience from top guys in the industry. It's like, who wouldn't be successful? Let's say you're in business and your mentor are the two CEOs of the biggest Fortune 500 companies. Like who wouldn't be successful after learning how they were successful? Yep. And it's like,
pretty good analogy right there, my guy.
Yeah, and I'm just fortunate enough to be in that situation and learn from them as well. So, yeah, and you're talking about guys looking over to the sideline. It's like, one, yeah, you can be really successful doing that as a team, but are you just trying to be successful as a team, or are you trying to help your players progress? And I think some coaches in that system do a good job at developing players. But I think a lot of those players that play in those systems have a hard time, progressing to the next level, especially in positions where you have to do a lot at the line of scrimmage, like a quarterback. So
I want to get Kevin's thoughts. I know that Kevin's sitting there listening to Nate talk, and I'm sure that he has a couple questions or topics he wants to bring up. Kevin, do you have anything for Nate as you ride in the car, I assume?
Yeah, I'm in the car right now. No, I'm just enjoying the story right now, man. Yeah, just keep going, man. I'm just a listener today.
All right, you're just a fan. You're just a Washoe Walkons fan. Nate, you just mentioned three guys. Well, you mentioned a lot of guys, but you mentioned three guys: Coach Davis, Coach O'Keefe, and Coach Brian, who, along with yourself, because of the positions you guys are in, you guys take a lot of heat, okay, from the fans. From a lot of people. And I'm
from
glad
anybody that watches football. If you're the guy that says hike, or you're the guy that calls the plays, you either are the greatest or the worst. And it's unbelievable.
And we had an episode this past season, maybe the season before that too. We had a couple episodes where I think one of them is called the Nate Stanley Haters Address. And we spent 60 minutes just body shielding you, which you don't need from us 100%, but we decided to take it upon ourselves anyway. And we just tore people up, and we got
there are some people that are very unhappy with Drake Kulik because of the umbrella that I put over you. You're untouchable as far as this podcast is concerned.
It definitely turns some people off, but we thought it was necessary because of some of the stuff you just described. The depth and the knowledge of schemes. It's not just 11 guys go out there, run football right side, Mm-hmm. There's so much more to it that happens even before the play. You're setting things up 10 plays before that you're going to bring back later in the third quarter, just all this stuff. I am curious to get your thoughts on taking that heat, dealing with it, because obviously as QB1 at any school, you're going to deal with heat. The joke is that second string quarterback is everybody's favorite player.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if those three coaches that you mentioned ever talked to you outside of just the schematics of football on how to handle the pressure. You're obviously known in the community of the Iowa Hawkeye community as someone who is very professional when he talks. Like Drake said in the opener, doesn't say a lot. You always have the right answer. You're very good at answering questions.
And it's funny. After I made the body bag comment, the next week in the media, I had media again, and I wouldn't go down by myself. And I waited for Nate because he's the most popular dude in the room. I was like so scared to go to the media. And Nate's like, dude, what are you scared about? Just don't say anything stupid. Like, that was his advice. Just don't say anything stupid. And I'm like, Nate, you don't understand. I am stupid, okay? Like, this is what I say.
I remember that.
So I guess, So I guess, Nate, is that your mindset? Is just don't say anything stupid, or what do you think about taking all that heat and kind of dealing with that pressure? Did it ever get to you inside? Did you ever even see it? I know you're probably not a huge social media guy. Did that ever affect you, or was that even ever part of your life during the 4 years in Iowa, or talk about that?
Yeah. So, one, I think as far as getting help with it, the beginning of this season, Coach Brian gave me a book to read called The Obstacle is the Way. And it's pretty much just about, changing your perception on things.
That's by Ryan Holiday, right?
I don't know for sure. I don't remember.
I'm almost positive it is.
That sounds right. But it's all about changing your perception in that, whatever is being said or whatever's happening, like you can spin it in your own head as a positive, and you can make the most of it. And, that's kind of what I tried to do. A lot of times it was really tough. In particular, the Penn State game in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I was just getting pounded. And
that's the week we put the episode out about you.
And I think I know, Drake, you reached out and sent me a couple text messages, and a lot of my teammates pretty much said, hey, like you're our guy, we trust in you. So really just relying on the relationships that you build of the people's whose opinions actually matter. Then you can kind of start to learn that, like, what everybody else is saying, like, they don't know what you go through. They don't know the time you invested. They don't know, any details of the situation other than what, maybe announcer said on TV that might not even
which is guaranteed not right. Let's not even give the announcers any respect at all. It's just guaranteed that what they just spewed is incorrect.
And I mean, there's guys that know football that are announcers, but every team has different tweaks in their schemes, and an announcer might talk on how they did it when they played, which it might be right, it might be wrong, but to the average fan, they're gonna look at that and they're gonna hear it and they're gonna say, oh my gosh, this guy, he's an announcer on a primetime game, he played, his word is truth, and maybe it is right, maybe it's not, but nobody knows for sure, outside of the people that actually played. So I did have a really hard time, especially after that game. My sophomore year, I had a hard time dealing with it, but there's a lot of avenues that we had to, kind of handle that. I don't know if you guys ever met with Carmen Tebby, but our sports psychologist, she helped me so much.
That's Drake's mother.
Yeah, Carmen's the GOAT.
Yeah, she's great. She's awesome, and she helped me. She helped me develop ways to handle pretty much that negative attention. The negative and the positive, because there were some good times too, but the approach I tried to take on it was was kind of the same as what the public saw. Try to be even keeled, try to stay in the middle. Not get too high, not get too low, and when I was having a hard time, rely on my teammates. Rely on the people whose opinions actually matter. So
the don't listen to the noise thing is so relevant, and you might not exactly get it when you're in the program, and then or you get a mature mindset like you did after having to go through what's much more polar attention than most people have in their careers. Like, most people just know me as the asshole that broke his leg and ran his head into things. They were always happy for Drake Kulik. Like, they didn't have any reason to hate the three of us. Kluver didn't snap it over anybody's head. We were just in the shadows. But I mean, understanding that it truly is only the locker room that matters. And man, ride with those guys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, the time that you put in, like, people don't understand. I mean, people probably understand, but not to the extent of what it actually is, of what you do on a daily basis. Like, like in the off season, is probably the least time commitment, but it's still, okay, wake up at 5, go work out for an hour and a half, 2 hours. You go to class, you come back, you get dinner, and then you maybe have 2 hours to hang out or do homework, and then it's like you go to bed because you got to wake up at 5 the next morning. And it's like, the average person doesn't do that. And but I wouldn't trade it for anything, because you're doing
how much do you think Doyle's program, and how, maybe not all inclusive is the word, but just like how under a microscope you are at all times of the year, how much do you think that strengthens you as a player?
Yeah, I think, kind of the way that they run the program kind of trains you and gives you a good, trying to think of the word, a good, exposure to what you're going to get from the outside world. With the Hawkeye Championship, you're analyzed on everything that you do.
Your whole life is under a microscope.
Your whole life, and how much you're sleeping, how much, like, people wouldn't understand, but like when you get body count, like, they're invading your personal privacy to see if you're a fat ass or not.
And we were all fat, man, because that's what happens, dude. We had to get big. Like,
for real.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, Kevin,
you were like 228
cut,
and you didn't even look good with your shirt off. Shut up.
Kev was hard body, but that's so funny, Nate. So Nate Stanley confirmed not a fan of the body comp tests.
Well, mainly because it just makes you feel bad about yourself.
Oh, it does.
It shows how big of a pile you are, but
and it hurts too.
There's a reason for everything that they do, and they just wanted the best for us. And but when you sign up to play, you give up 4 or 5 years of your life to do something special, and everything that I did and had to do was well worth it to meet the people that I got to meet, and have the opportunities that I had. I would do it again if it meant I could play for another 4 years. So.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, the thing is when you sign up to do something that special, there's going to be some downsides. There's going to be a lot of, there's a pros and cons list to everything. There's a long cons list of Iowa football, especially when you lay it out at the beginning of 4 years, like, hey, good chance your body is going to be broken in 4 years.
Yeah.
Good chance that you're going to have some PTSD from having to weigh in on Mondays every day.
I'll tell you what, a pros and cons list of college football honestly looks pretty bad, but you just got to understand, like, the level to the pros.
Yeah, the magnitude.
Each pro is 10x.
Yeah. It's yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth it, and I think anybody that has been a part of something that was special or comparable to being on a team in the Big Ten would say that all those nights where you don't feel like or all those mornings where you don't feel like waking up because you got to do something. It's like when you're in it, you're like, man, this absolutely blows. But then when you're done, it's like the best feeling in the world.
Yep.
And it's the same thing. anybody that's done it would in my opinion would say, yeah, I would do it again. So.
No doubt, especially with what now. Like, you wouldn't have to go back in being a naive green kid. You could go in with a vet's mentality. I'd do it over and over again as many times as they'd let me.
But there's that, coming in and transitioning from that kid to someone who's mature by design through the program is kind of what it's all about, though, at the same time, don't you think?
It's pretty special to see year 1 to year 5. It's pretty incredible.
I mean,
it's like, that Hawkeye championship in the off season just, just breeds leadership from everybody really, and breeds accountability. And, there's always guys that have a hard time, but, most of the time, those guys that come in that are having a hard time, by year 3, 4, 5, they're on the straight and narrow, and, they're the ones that are saying, hey, like, I went through what you're going through right now to the young guys, and like, they're the ones trying to be the leaders for everybody. And it truly is special because, I think Coach Ferentz and Coach Doyle, and with everything they do from a leadership aspect as well as, getting people to be the best football players they can be, it's really the total package. And it's, one of the best programs you could be in as far as, developing leadership.
Was 2019 the tightest team you've been a part of?
I would say so, yeah.
It looked like, from an outsider's perspective.
I've said that, a couple times before, just in media and stuff, and kind of the approach that we took in the off season, was really, started from the players and from the seniors and the guys in the leadership group. We read a book called Culture Code, and it was a great book. And we took like 3 concepts from it that we really wanted to implement. And we didn't really tell anybody that we were trying to implement these. We just did them. And
that's pretty cool.
We could see, like, we told like Coach Doyle and some of the guys that wanted to know, like, okay, like, this is what they want to work on. But we didn't tell the younger guys, like, we do presentations during team meetings, but it was like that was kind of it. But then we would go and do these concepts and practice what we were trying to preach. And you could just see everybody without, us telling them, hey, this is what we're doing. We could see everybody like just jump on board and start doing what we were trying to do. And it was really special because, everybody, had, I'm going to say extreme ownership in what we were doing. Obviously Jocko Willing talks about that a lot, and everybody truly felt responsible for like what was going on. And, if somebody messed up, they truly felt, responsible for what they did and felt bad to the team. And, nobody shamed anybody. Nobody like bitched anybody out. Everybody was just, wet about their business and just did it to the best of their abilities. And everybody, was really close in the building and outside the building. So
what you just described, and you didn't get to be a part of it because it was the year before you came in, but you described what our 2015 team had as well.
Yeah.
And
that's what all the 5th year guys were saying, that
Yep.
like this was the closest to 2015 that like they had felt, since that year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
and I'm sure the coaches reference that 2015 team a lot.
Yeah.
Coach Ferentz loves to bring up, sheets of paper with stats on it of this team did this well. And back in March of their preparation for that year, they did this on their max lifts, that kind of stuff, like stuff that shows that you're progressing and you're on the right track. And that kind of no one, everybody felt accountable, and you start to really feel that during the summer. You said that the Hawkeye championship, for those, we've mentioned it before, but that's the off season kind of in-team challenge where you split up into teams and you kind of see it just drives everybody forward, and
it drives everybody in the right direction, man.
Yeah. And
the more you think about it and like all the intricacies of it and how they made sure that you couldn't slack in certain areas because it was just going to get exposed. You had to be a better person.
And what happens is when the seniors lead that challenge well, and that's exactly what happened in 2015. I can still remember the feel around the locker room and around the complex with Drew Ott and Austin Blythe and Marshall Kane and all those guys who were seniors going into that 2015 season. I mean, you know, Miguel was a specialist and it was like one of his first years, but he missed a body weight. He was on Drew Ott's team who happened to win that year. And Miguel cried. He called Drew crying because he was so scared and apologetic to Drew, who was the senior captain of their team, because he felt that much, he felt that much like
he brought shame to his family.
Yeah, he felt that.
Yeah, you're saying like, and it's not that he was like scared that Drew was gonna beat him up.
Right,
either.
right.
It was like he honestly felt bad that he let his team down, and it's not
exactly.
like he wasn't afraid of like a physical punishment or anything like that. He truly felt bad.
Yeah. And that season, that 2015 summer, it's funny. I don't know if you should listen to the Paulson podcast because evidently it's our best one. So if you get a chance, I know you're busy as hell, but listen to it. You can like throw it on 2x speed.
Those are some funny guys.
Yeah, they're great.
Well, I'll ask you about them in a minute, just as people and kind of growing through the program with them. But they mentioned also that this summer, maybe one person missed a line. They said like Reef one time missed one line, and it was because he accidentally did it.
The whole summer. We had, it was one, like through all conditioning, through all the game simulators, it was one misrep by.
That is the most unheard of thing I've ever
whole
heard
summer
in my life.
It was crazy. Like no false starts. I think it was I think Reef missed a time, but he missed it like barely, and it's because he like slipped on a cut or something. Like it was something crazy, like something that is like, oh, like I understand why it was like,
right.
He like slipped bad, obviously, but I mean, it was nuts. Like everybody was just pushing each other. Everybody was competing within these reps. Like I would always, lift with Jackson Subert, and then we would always run next to each other too.
Boy.
We would bust each other's ass. Like we would push each other to the max, like to the point where it's like, oh my God, like I don't think I can do another rep. It's like you don't want to let that guy down,
right?
Because he's doing it too. So it's like, everybody on the team was like that, and you guys felt it in 2015,
yep.
And it's just something special.
And that's where I was going with it, is we felt that same thing. I think in 2015 it was super similar. I think we had 2 or 3 missed times all summer, and it was on some technical stuff. It wasn't because guys weren't conditioned. Everybody was on their shit. And I want to know from you, when did you start? Maybe it was before summer in the spring ball or something. When did you start to feel, because you're a senior going into this last year, kind of how the ebbs and flow of an entire season is put together.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start to feel that kind of that turn? The Paulsons mentioned that there were rumblings. You could hear the coaches every once in a while say, like, we might have something special here. And they were alluding to, we were talking about them, you guys being a 10-win team this last season, which is just one of the benchmarks, inside of the Iowa program that you kind of shoot for. Mm-hmm. You started to hear things during camp, like we've got a chance. We've got something special here. Coach Doyle, every once in a while, will verbalize it and say, guys, you could be something if you want to be. Like he kind of lets you guys know where you're at. When did you start to feel that turn, or did you even recognize it, or you just weren't worried about it?
Yeah, so like from the jump, like Coach Doyle sets those bars like extremely high, and that first team meeting when you're back, like right when school starts in January, it's like they set it high, and then it's up to you to match it or surpass it. And I think like those first 2 weeks of GPP and all that eccentric lifting and stuff, like the 2 hardest weeks of like you're lifting heavy, but it's also eccentric, and then you got GPP on top of it. Everybody was just crushing it. Nobody was complaining. Nobody was moaning about it. Nobody was trying to get out of it. Like everybody just crushed it. And at that time, like after those 2 weeks, it was like, damn, like nobody tried to skip any of this. Nobody tried to get out of it. Nobody, was dogging it. Everybody was pushing each other. And like at that time, it was like, dang, like everybody's on board. And if we keep this going, which we did through the whole off season, we got a chance to do something special. And then too, on top of it, once I saw people, I talked about the book that we read and us trying to implement those concepts. And once I and the other seniors on the team, the other 18 seniors on the team saw like it just kind of naturally happening within the team, I would say it was probably like in the middle of February, and everybody was like,
Wow.
dang, we feel really good with how this off season is starting. And, if we can keep it going, like it's going to be special.
Damn.
That's nuts, man.
That's crazy to hear, isn't it, Drake?
But hearing him say it, it makes sense because I personally had more confidence in this 2019 team as an outsider, not even get to see what's going on, than I did in 2015. Because 2015, we were coming off of a bad year, dude. We sucked and we got destroyed for it in the complex for during conditionings, man, we always heard about it. And during practices, we heard about it. We had bad sets of 9-on-7. We heard about it. Like, it's just over and over. They remind you that if you're going to do the same shit, you're going to eat the same shit.
Yeah.
Right.
So when we kept winning in 15, it was like, dang, we're a good team. Like, this is a special season. But it was like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Right.
2019 is not where did this come from. 2019, everybody was looking at 2019 like, holy shit, this team might be really something.
Because in that 2015 season, Drake, I don't know about you, I thought I had a pretty good gauge on the facility culture and stuff. I don't know if we started to see what Nate talked about until maybe May or early summer, when we really felt like that. We murdered that summer as a 2015 team.
Yeah,
but I don't know if you could be.
We had some amazing leaders too, just natural leadership.
Incredible.
It was not forced, but just guys that had a ton of respect because they earned it.
Right.
Yeah.
Nate, we're recording this on a Friday because you're a busy guy, right? I don't know. You're not in school right now, are you?
Yeah, I'm in one class right now.
Okay, one class. So
yeah,
not too much on the plate.
It's kind of hard to travel around the country taking a class though.
Right. That's what I'm getting to. So, it's February 7th when we record this. Talk about what this first month back. You're training in Iowa City, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and we've seen the clips that you've reposted from your quarterback coach of you throwing in other places. I think a lot of that was when you were back home on break.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been putting in the work. Talk about, to the extent that you can and you care to, what this first month of training has been like, and kind of where you see yourself going in these next couple months. I know this is huge for you. You've got a real shot at making some noise here in a couple months, and talk about kind of your preparation for that.
Yeah. So I think as far as working with the quarterback guy that I've been working with, I had the chance to go to the Manning camp last summer.
Yeah.
Met him there. Stayed in touch with him. Really made a good friendship with him down in Louisiana. And then, he was like, hey, like, I want to work with you. And, seeing him coach people and interact with people down at that camp, I was like, yeah, like I'd love to, like, let's do it. So, after, the Nebraska game last year, like, I talked to him more, just because I had a little more free time, before the bowl game. And I booked a flight to go out to New Jersey to work with him for a week, made plans to work with him. So I was out there for a week, at the beginning of January, working with him, kind of, pretty much learning how to. So I played baseball growing up, and I was a pitcher playing quarterback.
And you could throw smoke.
And I gave up some accuracy because I try to throw the ball too hard sometimes. And now, like, I feel really good with where I'm at as far as my mechanics, my fundamentals. So I'm just trying to replicate, that on a daily basis. I'm working with the guys in this draft class, like Weeding, Brady Ross, Torrin Young, and then Matt Vandenberg. He's running routes for me, as much as I want. And it's just been a really good, first month and a half, and Coach Doyle's got us on the right track. And you know, it's kind of weird because it's accelerated. You know, like Tristan, AJ, and I, we're all doing strength and conditioning with Coach Doyle, and you know, we're already into like peak speed and power because we go to the combine in a couple weeks, and
Right.
it's weird because like the normal, you know, phase of lifting in the wintertime is like you do 2 weeks of like GPP and eccentric lifting, but like we only did 1 week, and then we were like right into like on-field drills, like pro agility, 40-yard, you know, 3-cone, all that stuff. So it's been accelerated, but it's been good. You know, I feel really good. My body feels good. I'm going back out to Jersey Sunday through Wednesday actually to you know, do some more quarterback stuff, you know, kind of do one last tune up before the combine. And then, you know, it's another week and a half, and then I'm out to Indy for you know, 5-6 days. And then back to training for another month, a little under a month. And then it's the pro day. And then after that, you know, going to continue to, you know, work out, throw, you know, talk with teams, whoever wants to talk with me. I'm going to try to, you know, be as proactive as I can.
Absolutely.
And be as prepared as I can when I interview with teams, and then you know, hopefully on draft day I've done enough to you know, kind of jump above some of those guys that are you know, supposedly higher than I am on some of the draft boards right now. So
Maybe I'm biased, but as I see it, I see a 3-year starter that's still a young kid with a rocket launcher for a right arm and a pro offense. I don't know. Maybe I'm fucking wrong and stupid, but I see a pretty good draft prospect.
yeah, I'm just trying to be you know, this year's Daniel Jones, see if I can you know,
Hey, turn it up.
try to jump up. You know, I don't really look at you know, the draft boards all that much. I honestly don't even know. Like, I know some of the bigger guys that are ahead of me, supposedly ahead of me. You know, you never really know though, because you know, Daniel Jones went to the combine, he threw well. His pro day, he threw extremely well. You know, and was like a late 2nd round guy, 3rd round guy, and he jumped up to what, pick 6 or something
6
like
pick
that.
overall, and then had a really good rookie year, and everybody shut up on the hate.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So, you know, I'm just doing everything I can to, you know, perform well at the combine and the pro day, and then, you know, obviously interview well, you know, with teams.
which you will.
Yeah. So I feel pretty confident with that. And then go out, you know, drill okay. I don't have to run a 4.6 40.
No,
I don't have to run a 4.1 pro. You know, I just have to test well enough, you know, to show that I can move, and you know, obviously being a bigger guy doesn't hurt as long as I can move a little bit.
Right. Yeah. And you know, sometimes when you do run a 4.1 pro, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
From
How often
personal
do you-
experience, I ran a 4.14,
Yeah.
and here I am.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, Nate, I want to touch on something that some of the Hawkeye fans were very, very pleased to see this year. Number 4 pulled it down in some situations and ran for the first down and surprised not only the defense, but a lot of Hawkeye Nation. You made me very excited in some certain situations. You're not slow. I mean, you get out there, you got some long legs, you got some of that sneaky speed. You're not Lamar Jackson by any means.
No,
but
not by any stretch.
But I think you added a little bit on tape there to
You're the greatest QB sneaker in the history of QB sneaks.
Let's talk about
that'd be interesting to see what the highest average on a QB sneak is, but
you've got it.
Like, you would think so.
I wanted to lay claim to that from high school until my high school film cannot even hold your jock strap in college when it comes to QB sneaks. And I was a pretty good QB sneaker in high school.
Yeah. No, you know, the coaches always say, you know, if you can pull it down and run for 1 or 2 first downs a game, like, that's huge. You know, a defense has to respect you so much more as a runner now. You know, and who knows, maybe you can you know, keep a drive going for, you know, keep 1 or 2 extra drives going a game, and you know, you don't know the implications of, you know, keeping your defense off the field, keeping their offense off the field. Like, it's crazy what you know, what maybe one play over the course of a game can do for the rest of the game. Did I mute you guys? I can't hear you.
No, I can't hear Kluver. Because I can hear you just fine, Nate.
Yeah, I can't hear Kluver either.
Fuck you, Kluver.
Kluver, we can't hear you, man.
Yeah, he knows. He's pissed right now. He's so mad. It's easier than you thought it was going to be, Nate?
Yeah, this is chill.
Yeah. He said, ask you about the 3 sneaks in a row.
Oh, I'll say I was in on the third one. There's no way. You can see the side shot with the ball in the end zone. But I understand why they didn't overturn it, because it's hard to see where your knees are at and stuff in a pile like that. But Brian can get into the FU sort of mindset, and it's like,
Hell yeah.
We're just gonna pound it at you. And it was, what was it, like second and 3 or 2nd and 4, and he's like, I get the QB sneak signal. I'm like, all right, let's do it. It's like, and then we picked up like 8 yards on it, and then we ran it 2 more times in a row, and I was like, I was so mad when they didn't overturn that call, but we scored on the next play, so it's all good. But
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Nate. All of Hawkeye Nation with your sneaks and that 3 sneaks in a row, and Brian, it was the biggest just middle finger to anyone in the nation. It was like, we're running a sneak. We're coming right down your throat, and you can't do anything about it.
And it was the most beautiful thing in the world to watch.
How does it feel to get tackled forward by Brady Ross?
it's it's not something that happens a lot. And, to like, when you get in there and then you just get that extra push, it's like, all right, like
an extra push from a locomotive.
Yeah, it's like he's built, yeah, exactly like you just said. Like,
he's built. That's it. He's built like an almond.
Yeah, it's like just a big old bowling ball that comes in and gives you an extra push for 5 yards. It's like, and then you got to think, like, there's one, I'm trying to remember who we were playing. I think it might have been Rutgers earlier in the year, where Linderbaum just took their shade for a ride. He took him like 9 yards down and just pancaked him.
Yeah.
It's like, I get up and Lindy is like on top of this guy. And then the dude tried to fight him. And it's like, dude, after you get pancaked 9 yards down the field, like, you can't do anything about it. Nothing you can do can bring you back from that. And it's like, it's just the most disrespectful thing for us to like line up on. We ran it on like 3rd and 4 before, and picked it up, and it's like, it's one of the most disrespectful things, and it's like, it's a great feeling, because it's like, yeah, like you said, they know it's coming, and we're just going to do it anyway, and we're just going to say F you and do it. So.
Incredible. I don't want to take up too much of your time. We're over an hour already. And I about actually lost I lost consciousness about how pissed I was that my mic went out there. I'll edit it together. Some fun questions. What were some of your favorite places to play outside of Kinnick? Who were some of your favorite teams to play against or maybe beat? And give us maybe 1 or 2 of your favorite memories just from your time on the Iowa football team.
Yeah, I would say Nebraska Stadium is really cool to play in. One, because they hate us and we never lost to them.
Let's go.
Yeah, so I remember in 2017 when we were driving out, I saw this, like, one of their like tailgating like buses or whatever had like a dummy, like 2 dummies with my jersey and then Akram's jersey on it, like they're running over us. And it's like, I was like, hey, like that's pretty funny if they would have beat us, and we destroyed them. Like it was like 44-17
56-14 or something like that.
56-14.
Yeah, we crushed them, and then so that I think playing at Nebraska is always fun because there's a bunch of people, and the stadium is really cool too.
Yeah.
I always love playing at Minnesota. It's not too far away from my hometown, and I always had friends that would always come. It was easy for my parents to get there. So that was a fun place to play too. Whenever you get to pick up that pig, and it's awesome. And then seeing how emotional Coach Brian gets in the locker room.
Absolutely.
I think 2016, he kicked over like 3 trash cans in the locker room before the game even started. And it's
Let's go.
He was like so emotional, and to see that and then go out and win and be able to like celebrate in the locker room, after playing those guys and then winning a trophy, there's no better feeling. And then it's the same thing against Iowa State. I really like playing there. Like they have a good stadium. The grass is really nice. Even after those 3 rain delays we had this year, like the grass was still pretty nice. It's always a good place to play, and it's always fun when you go into a hostile environment and you can come out with a win. So,
winning trophy games in hostile environments, it just really doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome, and I would say one of my best and favorite memories was after we beat Iowa State this year in the locker room. Like Coach Ferentz, like I won't say what he said, but Coach Ferentz can kind of get pretty savage after we win, or he's like, I don't like. He always says like, oh, don't listen to the noise, like just tune it out. But like he knows what people are saying, and then after we go out and beat him, he just makes them eat their words, and it's like it was one of those situations where like he said something and everybody goes nuts, and then he starts crying and gets emotional, and then like everybody goes even more crazy, and then it's like a snowball effect, and it's
it's one of the most special moments of your whole life.
Oh my God, yeah. And then obviously the Ohio State game was another great one. Just being in the locker room after that game, seeing Coach Ferentz get emotional. I mean, you guys know how it is. He'll start tearing up, and then everybody start cheering, and he just starts crying. It's like,
man,
it's special. And then obviously just play a team like that and beat them. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, those memories. Anytime with a trophy, I'll remember those for the rest of my life. For sure.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Any words from today? You mentioned before we started the recording, you guys started the 3-cone. How bad did everyone look? Because our first day of 3-cone drill, not a single person knew if we were going to – I didn't even know the week before pro day if I was going to figure out the 3-cone drill.
Yeah. I didn't do the 3-cone drill.
So like we got some dudes that are like pretty tall and pretty explosive. So like AJ was pretty good at it.
Of course,
Nate Wheating ran it pretty well. But like some of the steps are just like counterintuitive, and it's like you just got to flip it in your head, and it's like
especially that turnaround.
Yeah, the turn, like it's not something you see or a technique that's taught by a lot of people. But in your head, it's like, yeah, if you can get this down, you can run a pretty fast time. And so everybody definitely struggled with that that turn. But other than that, everybody got those first 2 changes down, the two-step. Everybody got that down fairly well. So it's definitely that third cone, that 180 turn that the
5-step
everybody struggled with, and it's going to be interesting to see the progression on that.
Hey, if it's any words of encouragement, a chocolate milk fed 243-pound long snapper ran a 6.88 3-cone drill on pro day. So anyone can do it, man. You just got to come out and ball,
Yeah, for sure.
The other thing, don't think too much about it. Just enjoy the process. You've been competing forever, so it's just another day. And like, man, I wish I would have enjoyed it more because I put way too much pressure on myself and then underperformed because of it. And so, like, don't do that to yourself. Just go out and enjoy it because it really can be a fun day.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else before we go that you would like to say to Hawkeye Nation or anything like that?
It's been a crazy ride, but I appreciate all the support. These past 4 years, and I wouldn't trade these 4 years for anything.
That's it. The podcast that you guys have been waiting for. A hard guy to get. Nate Stanley,
That's our quarterback.
QB1, number 4. Thanks for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. You're welcome back anytime, 100%. When you go win a Super Bowl as a QB1 on some team, remember us, try to, and we'll bring you on. We'll talk about Super Bowl. But man, it was so fun from an early stage in your career to know that you were going to be the guy for us, and we put all of our trust into you. You're one of the best teammates we've ever had, and I consider myself fortunate to know you and have been on your team. So,
amen to that.
Right back at you.
Can we get a Hawks by a million before we leave?
Hawks by a million, baby.
Let's
there we go.
go. All right. For all those listening, hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Thanks for joining us today. Walk-ons out.